Glug, 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 glug. Ding!
You're listening to The Tales We Tell, a podcast about spooky stories, unsolved mysteries, and local lore. I'm your host, Hannah Parch.
And I'm Katy.
Welcome back.
Almost said, and I'm congested.
Again.
Friggin' daycare.
Well, the important thing is that your child is better.
And that he didn't have to go to the hospital.
Yes.
Because RSV was going around the daycare, and one of the teachers told me that one of the kids had to go to the hospital.
Ooh, not
and
good.
I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She, of course, didn't tell me which one
Of
because
course.
confidentiality, but then I noticed that there was one kid that I hadn't seen at daycare for a little while.
And you're a smart cookie.
And then he was back, and I was like, oh, good. I don't know if this was him, but if it was, he's back and he's here.
Right.
So, yay. I'm very happy to hear
Right.
that he is okay.
What is RSV?
It's basically a respiratory,
okay.
it's a viral thing.
Okay.
And it's something that's just, it's so common that I don't think any people, make it out of infancy without getting it.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. Tolly was also sick this week, so when we went over to pick up peppers again, I don't get there's some weird system where, because I was telling Jenna, and she was like, I was like, well, someone grows peppers and then gives them to Connor, and then Connor gives them to Jarek, and she was like, don't they work at the same place? I said, yes. I have no idea why this person cannot just give them to Jarek, but there's a whole transferring situation. I thought we were going over to pick up a bag of peppers like we did last time.
No, a major haul.
No, several, what seemed like an illegal amount of peppers is what we picked up. And Connor was very nice, and he was like, well, Tolly is sick, and he's going to bed. I was like, it's fine. I don't have to see your kid every time I come over. I would like to, but...
Yeah, you kind of do, but whatever.
I mean, I am obligated to, but I'm not going to make a big deal about it this time. So, that is actually one of the fun things that you'll get to see if you're a patron, is a video of Jarek...
The pepper challenge?
Eating a pepper. Again... No one's forcing the man to do these things. He's just voluntarily looking at something called I don't know, like a demon peach or something, a purple peach demon thing, and eating it. And then he didn't wake me up in the morning this time, but he has a...
Still not as bad as the death chip, huh?
Apparently this one has more, is higher on the Scoville units than... And he's got a buddy who's making him salsa out of all of these. So I don't know why he does this to himself.
Did I ever tell you the time that I made for our salsa competition at Hillary's Cinco party? I was slicing up all the stuff before I put it into the food processor. And I sliced up the jalapenos and then the habaneros. Mm-hmm. And this was an exceptionally spicy batch of habaneros. Uh-huh. And then I sliced up the tomatoes, and I'm like, ooh, tomato juice. And in my classiness, I licked the cutting board.
Oh, no.
This was right after I'd sliced up all the habaneros. And I was like, tomato liquid. Holy crap, my mouth is on fire.
First of all, weird thing to do.
I know.
Anyway.
I mean, it's just, there's a lot of tomato. I love tomatoes.
Just eat a tomato, Katy.
I couldn't. I was putting it in the salsa.
You could have just saved one for yourself. Oh, man. Well, another thing that's going to be on Patreon for our patrons is the story of what happened with Isabel. Yeah. Listen. I was re-listening to our episode from last week. So when you were unpacking your box and you were mentioning Isabel and then just skimming past her, I was like, okay, I'm suspicious of this doll that you're oh, she was in here and now she's not. I
played it off fairly well.
You did, and then my stupid husband also did. It was several hours later that she made her appearance. And then, I don't think I even showed you this. I'll save this for patrons.
So basically, you're welcome for introducing a fun game into your marriage.
Well, and listen, I also thought, because I was like, oh, I'm the one staying home, maybe I can, like, no, somehow this man has, like, because he's moved her several times, I woke up to this the other day. Yeah, I'm like, So anyways, stay tuned to Patreon, because I'm gonna give everyone the full story of this and show you what I have been assaulted with for the last.
Isabel did come with me. She just wandered off once she got here.
Yep. Sure.
Yeah. But now she's right here next to me.
Yeah, you notice I moved Felicity out of this room. Just because Felicity's a nice doll.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to stay in here with
vacant dead-eyed porcelain doll.
Oh my gosh, I went to Goodwill the other day, and because I was looking for sweaters, and
it's still August
for my new job, Katy. I'm trying to find office wear.
Yeah, no more scrubs for you.
I know, I'm excited. I've already donated all of them. I'm just like going through the one rack of clothes. It's like I don't have much time. First of all, there was an alarming number of like creepy looking dolls on the wall nearest to me. And I thought for a minute, I was like, maybe I should get one of those and like give Isabella a friend. The reason I didn't is because there was also, it wasn't a music box, but it was like one of those, I guess it was like a porcelain thing or something that like you twist the bottom of. Someone had twisted it. I have no idea how long ago, because it sounded like it was on its last little, like when...
Oh, yeah, where the music box is completely unwound, but it still has the ding, ding.
It did that the entire time I was there. For like 10 or 15 minutes, it would just... And I was like, that thing is straight up fucking haunted. No chance I am going near that thing. I hope no one bought it, because I was like, if there's ever been a haunted little figurine at the Goodwill, it's this one that won't stop playing its music, trying to lure you over to it. Okay, well, that is a great lead-in to Katy.
You'll at least put a picture of Isabel on...
Yeah, I can put a picture of her up there.
So, picture of Isabel, or any pictures from our episodes or fun adventures and wacky pranks. You can go to our Instagram and Facebook at The Tales We Tell Podcast. If you want to see this stuff, but you don't do the social media, you can go to our website, thetaleswetellepodcast.com. And if you want to support us, get yourself some sweet, sweet swag, you can go to Redbubble store and search The Tales We Tell. And if you want the full details on the Isabel haunting, the haunting of Isabel, there we go, and the ensuing prank wars, you can become a patron at patreon.com, search The Tales We Tell. You also get early access to episodes, other fun bonus content, stickers, and love notes.
Yep. Yay. I do have one quick little shout out. I was telling Katy when she first got here that Jarek and I made a little impromptu trip to, I'm going to call it the family estate. Up in Wake Forest. It's called the Sutherland. It's called the Sutherland, but it's like an old house that this guy Ransom Sutherland built in like the 1700s. And fun shout out, he's my great grandfather. My great grandmother and my grandma both lived in the house for a short while, and they were having an art fair there. So we went to see the house, which P.S. is haunted, and yes, I'm going to research it, and I'm really hoping I'm related to the haunted lady, and it's a whole thing. But they had an art fair, and it was like all local artists, and I found a really cool tent, and this artist, her name is Veronica Vale, and she's out of Winston-Salem, and she is super nice, and I also bought 2 prints from her, which I don't know if you saw, they're over there. They're like super bright and beautiful. One of them is of Pilot Mountain, and it's like literally the view if you're driving on 64? 40?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Both of those are up there.
If you're driving towards the mountains, that first look where you see Pilot Mountain coming up, and then one of them is just a beautiful snow scene. But her and her husband were there. Also, look at her dog. He's so cute. And I told her about the podcast, and they were super sweet. They said they were going to listen, and so I was like, I'll give you guys a shout out on the podcast. So anyways, her name is Veronica Vale. Her Instagram is veronica.vale.art.
Is it VAIL or ALE?
ALE. Yeah. And I will try to remember to tag her in the show notes. She also does custom pet portraits, which I will be looking into.
Can't get enough of those.
I know. I love custom pet anything. Also, speaking of haunted old places, so my goal for this week, so this is my last full week before I start work, and so my goal is to like get a bunch of episodes, get at least like 2 or 3 written, get several more like lined up. So gentle listeners, if you have some suggestions, I would love it if you would send them my way. Yeah, because I need suggestions and I need to know what you guys want to hear, and that would be great. So rewind a little bit to hear the socials and just pick any of them and send them that way. Okay, so I promise, Katie, this one has no baby murders in it.
No dead babies.
No dead babies. I don't have a name for this episode yet, so we're just gonna start.
We can just call it Wheezy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got the daycare germs, which had then turned into a sinus infection, so... Sorry, gang, for the sounding like I smoke a pack and a half a day for 50 years.
That's fine. Some people do that. It would also be impressive if you had been doing that at your age, smoking for 50 years. Okay, so our story starts April 18th, 1943, with 4 friends.
It's my mom's birthday. Not the year, but...
Nice. So 4 friends, I finally figured out literally today that they're teenagers. Because all I heard were young boys. They're teenagers. Their names are Robert Hart, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne.
I'm going to have a really hard time keeping up all of that.
You don't really need to remember them. They're
awesome.
Just in this first part. So they are...
Oh, are they the sacrificial side characters? Like at the beginning of a Supernatural episode where you're like, okay, are you about to die or are you the monster? Like...
Kind of. They're more like the characters at the beginning of a Law and Order episode.
I was familiar with that. I've never really watched an episode of Law and Order, I don't think.
They're just out doing a regular thing, and then they come upon something.
Oh, they find the body in the woods.
Basically, yeah.
They think it's a mannequin, but it's not.
No, it's never a mannequin.
It's never a mannequin.
Although this is a twist. They don't think this is a mannequin. So it's 1943. We're in... I did not look up how to say this. I'm going to say it the way I say the sauce, which is Worcestershire. We're in Worcestershire, England. Specifically, we're in the woods of the Hagley Estates, which was a property that was owned by Lord Cobham. And I looked up who that was, and it was just like, they were just like, it's just a title. But it's not I was a specific person at the time, but not important. And they were bird nesting. Do you know what that is?
Were they robbing eggs from nests?
Yes. They were basically poaching eggs.
Nice. No, that's a different thing.
Well, they called it bird nesting, but they made it pretty clear that they were looking for eggs.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm saying that poaching eggs is a different thing.
Ha 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 ha. Hilarious.
Don't make me laugh. Or sorry, don't make me wheeze.
I know, your laugh is a little alarming right now.
I got some antibiotics. I brought Critter to the doctor, and doctor was like, meh. He's fine.
Like, it'll build his immune system.
And he's been sick for a while. Treat the symptoms. Watch for a fever. Like, yeah, sure. He sounds like he's, got gravel rolling around in his chest.
baby.
But he's smiling and laughing, so he's fine. So I brought Critter back to daycare, and I went home, and I was like, Mama's taking the day off. Except I didn't get to, because I never get a day off. There's no such thing. But I did get to go to the doctor.
Oh, good.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry for going to the doctor?
No, sorry for the
Oh.
unnecessary tangent. Let's do this.
Okay.
Put my focusing hat on.
So
They were stealing eggs.
They were stealing eggs.
Like a bunch of bitches.
So I did read a couple places that the implication was, since it's in the middle of the 1940s in England, that they were looking for sources of food for their families. And I guess wild bird eggs are things that you can eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they're doing this, and they come across a large Scots elm in the woods, and it's kind of dead, and it's kind of creepy looking.
You said this was 43?
Yes.
Forgot about other things.
Yeah,
that
other
happened.
stuff that's happening.
Which is funny because normally during that time period, you forget that other stuff happened.
Yeah, that's true. So Scots elms, well, I'm sure I did, and they weren't interesting enough, but I looked up this specific tree. Mm-hmm. So a Scots elm is also called a wych elm, WYCH, and this is the tree in question.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? Kind of like gnarly and creepy looking.
There's an Instagram account that I follow called Jews Love Trees.
You told me about this.
And I kind of want to send a picture to him and be like, hi, Tobin, Mr. Mitnick. The
fuck is wrong with this tree? Yeah, it's dead, I think. Or maybe it was April. It was also England, so I don't know. Anyways.
Or maybe it's just one of those trees that's like mostly branches and not leaves. Because, I mean, there's a couple of trees that you're like, wow, that looks dead. And they're like, no, it's actually in the middle of its thriving growing season. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I'm going to check this out one more time. Because I definitely Googled Scots elm trees. And, like, when you Google the actual tree, like, they look like normal trees. Like, they don't, they don't look terrifying. So I don't know what the deal was with that one. But it was pretty scary. And maybe that's why the boys were like, hey, maybe there's, like, some cool birds' eggs in there. So they send Bob to climb the tree and look for some nests and some eggs. And he climbs up and he sees that part of the trunk is hollow. And he looks in and he's like, okay, there's some stuff in here. There's a bottle. There's some shoes. And he's like, oh, I think I found the jackpot. I think I found some bird's eggs. Or a bird egg. Pulls it out. It's not a bird egg, Katie. It's a human skull.
I'm just gonna guess it. Dang it, I should have said it.
Yeah, so first he thinks it's an animal skull. And then
it is.
It is, true. First he thinks it's a non-human skull. And then they notice that it's got some hair attached to it. It's got some teeth still on it. I did read a source that said that they showed it to an older brother. But, and I was like, well, maybe he was with them? Because surely they didn't take it with them. Because the main takeaway was they were like, okay, we found a human skull. We're on this rich lord's property. We're not technically supposed to be here. We're doing something that's also technically illegal. Maybe we just put the skull back where we found it and go home and don't say anything to anyone.
So either that lord may have murdered someone and tried to dispose of the body on his property, or they found a whomping willow and it was just behaving at the time.
Oh, that's a good thought. Neither of those come up in my theories. So they agree. They're like, let's just put it back where we found it. Let's go home. Now is not the time to be getting in trouble, and we just won't say anything. So they all go home, but Thomas, who is the youngest of the group, has a little conscience, and he's like, he was probably me. He was the me of the group. And so he tells...
The worrywart tattletale.
And so he tells his parents, and his parents call the police. They did not get in trouble for, whatever.
Yeah.
So police go and investigate this tree. Let me show you the skull, by the way. There's a pretty cool picture. It's actually like a very gnarly picture. And it looks to me it looks like there's a spider on it. I think it's just hair.
It does look a little like a spider.
Right? Also, I feel like they should put on gloves.
Yeah, no, vinyl gloves, nitrile gloves, not a super common thing in 1940s.
Or cotton gloves. Any kind of gloves would be fine. Any gloves when handling a human remains.
I mean, it's not like the skull's gonna get an infection or anything.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the skull getting an infection.
Well preserved, very cool.
Yeah. Kind of small.
Yes and no. I mean, without looking at being able to see the brow bone, it could be a younger person or it could just be a woman's skull. I mean, it could just be somebody with a small head.
Looking at our skulls here for comparison. I also have small hands. This is not a good demonstration. It's like this. Yeah, I feel like this is like the same. Slightly larger. I'm also holding it the wrong way. All right, let me stop.
You promised me no dead children.
Okay, it's not a child, I promise. Okay.
But you're sitting here trying to tell me that it's small.
I'm just pointing out that's a small-ish head.
Or the person holding it just has really big hands.
Okay, all right.
Because, I have really big hands.
You have beautiful hands, as we've covered before. Yeah, all right. The problem is I need to have a adult-sized skull on the altar.
Yes, we do need an articulated skeleton.
We do?
Yeah.
Well,
anyone who's in med school, if you have your own and if you're done with it... Ooh, maybe Barry has one.
Who's Barry?
A friend of mine. Father Dr. Barry.
I don't like how...
He's a doctor.
Are you... Like a real human skull?
No.
Okay. I was like, I don't want one of those. I don't want one of those. Okay. Yeah, okay. Or, I mean, there's another Spirit Halloween at the mall. We could just go there and probably find one.
Normally, I'm always happy to see a spirit pop up. The fact that they just appear in the old, decayed husks of department stores is, just really in the spirit of Halloween. That's a knee slapper. The fact that ours here is in where the old Michael's craft store was actually hurts me a little bit.
I know. I miss the Michael's.
I don't want to go to Hobby Lobby.
I know. And Hobby Lobby doesn't carry Halloween stuff. Because they don't believe in Halloween, I guess. Also, several other reasons for Hobby Lobby being problematic. Yeah. Also, can I point out to everyone who's not listening, our mall is very uninspiring anyways, but last year our Spirit Halloween was also at the mall, but in a different abandoned
wasn't it in the
store.
Sears?
Yeah, well, no, because the Sears hadn't gone out of business yet. It was in the Pennies. It was in the old Pennies, and now it's just moved down the way a bit. And
it's a better location, really. It's not on the end anymore. It's kind of
true.
in between the Belk and the TJ Maxx.
Oh man. Okay, so police go to investigate the tree, and what they find is an almost complete human skeleton inside. Included with the almost complete human skeleton is a faux wedding ring, clothing fragments, some hair still attached to the skull, as we saw.
What makes it faux? I mean, Shelton's ring is tungsten, but it's brushed gold, so it looks like a gold band, but it's tungsten. So does that make it fake?
Yes. Let me see.
I mean, it's a wedding ring because I gave it to him when we exchanged vows.
That's true.
But if it's on a skeleton...
Let's see if I can pull up that article. I literally also just found...
I'm sorry, I'm just nitpicking semantics here. It's just an interesting way to describe things. So if you said a fake engagement ring, then, I would, think cubic zirconia or whatever. But then there's some people that are more than happy to have, the flash and the sparkle without it actually being a diamond. Like, I don't have a diamond because I thought it's
true.
I told Shelton, don't waste money on an expensive ring. Let's spend that on a trip or
a house.
Or a mountain house. And then he went and spent a stupid amount of money. Every now and then, when I'm being annoying, he threatens to tell me how much he spent on it, and I freak out, and I tell him no.
Until today, I had just wedding ring. And then as I was trying to find pictures, I came across another article, and it says a cheap faux gold ring.
Okay.
And then there is a police handout that had a descriptive illustration of, I guess, what they thought this woman looked like. And it had, like, I'll show it to you in a second. But it says mock wedding ring, value 2/6. And I don't know.
Like 6 pence or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
I'm just saying, especially in, like, our modern age now, like, there's a lot of different, non-traditional things.
Yeah.
So, like, sure, I guess, if it wasn't a gold band, and a gold band with a stone or whatever, then, yes, it couldn't be a wedding ring because...
Yeah. It may have just
been... It's not a wedding ring if it's not a gold band.
Yeah. So it may have been, like, I mean, I guess in the 40s, maybe it was just, like, a very obviously, like a $10, like, aluminum band that was painted gold.
Yeah, but also in the middle of World War II, who has the money to...
I don't know.
I mean, granted, you could have gotten it before, but still, like...
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so she also had, some of the teeth were missing, but there was a clear enough dental pattern that they felt pretty certain that it was something they could use to help identify this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I said that it was an almost complete human skeleton because the left hand was missing.
That's the hand you wear a wedding ring on.
Not in Europe. In Europe, they wear it on the right hand, don't they?
No, they drive on the...
I'm pretty sure in some countries they switch the ring over. We need, like, a cultural fact checker. We need a lot of things, and it's just us. So, Isabel, get on it. Can you fact check that, please? Please?
She looks so dead and vacant.
She hates me. I saw another source that said that one of her shin bones was missing, but I didn't see that anywhere else, so I don't know. So, funny story. Her hand was found. It was just buried near the tree. So we'll get to that. So they sent the body to forensic examiner James Webster, and he determined that she was a middle-aged female. Middle-aged... Okay, I realize now middle-aged being like 35. She had been dead approximately 18 months. She was 5 feet tall, and she had given birth at least once. Fourth finger, I missed.
Particularly in the UK, fourth finger on your left hand.
Okay, listen.
Suck it.
I am just telling you what the reports say. Okay?
No, you try to tell me that in Europe they wear their wedding ring on their right hand.
Okay, hold on. Let me do my own little research here for a second.
Be my guest. Jared, hit pause.
Jerk, cut this out. Okay. In Germany, they wear it on their right hand, and we will get to that part in the story, Katy. It's one of the theories.
So she's German?
Yes! We're in the middle of a war with Germany.
Me.
All right. Okay.
So, Her left hand was eventually found buried.
Yes.
Now, since it was buried, was it more preserved or was it skeletal?
I think it was also skeletal.
Okay.
Okay, so she's with the medical examiner now. So she's about 35. She had been dead about 18 months. She's 5 feet tall. She'd given birth at least once. He determined she had, quote, distinctly irregular teeth. He also found a piece of taffeta in her throat, which he believed indicated that she had been suffocated. And he also believed that she had been placed in the tree before rigor mortis had set in. So either very shortly after she had died, or hopefully not, but possibly like before she died and died there. But she was in the tree when rigor mortis set in. So police are like, okay, great. We have these like teeth. Let's contact some dentists. So they go all around the country and cannot find dental records to match this woman. They also couldn't match her to any missing persons reports in the surrounding areas, which made them start to think that perhaps she might be Dutch or German. Because remember, Katy, we're in the middle of a war.
I have so many things.
Okay.
I don't even know where to start.
Well, I would like to point out to all of our listeners that in Germany, it's common for people to wear their wedding ring on their right hand. Just saying. Okay.
Hey, Hannah, how do you pronounce that tool that's used to harvest wheat?
It's called a scythe, actually. Thank you. Yeah.
I hate this wheezy laugh. It's the worst.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Because I have to like give a full big laugh to get an actual laugh. But that's just too much work. I can't even giggle, and I hate giggling.
Very entertaining for me. Okay. In 1944, a graffiti message appeared on a wall in Upper Dean Street in Birmingham. And the message read, "Who put Bella down the Wych Elm?" And then it looked like it was kind of signed Hagley Wood. And more graffiti messages began to appear with similar messages. So they all said something to the effect of, "Who put Bella down the elm?" or "Who put Bella in the witch tree?"
Did they spell it the W-Y-C-H?
Yes. And they all seemed to be written in the same kind of blocky style and in white chalk. And whether or not the author had information that investigators did not, they were not able to find the author, so they didn't get any new leads from the messages. But
Except a possible name.
Right. So the public and the police started calling their Jane Doe Bella. So now we have some theories as to who Bella might have been. Wow, that date was completely wrong. I think it's supposed to say 1944. I wrote 1994. I'm pretty sure it's pretty sure it's supposed to say 1944.
That would make the most sense.
Make the most sense. Okay. In 1944, I think, a Birmingham sex worker reported to police that another sex worker named Bella, or Lou Bella, had gone missing 3 years earlier, which would have been 1941, which would have been around the time that our Bella had gone missing. Unfortunately, sex workers going missing probably is not something that police looked into.
Especially not then.
Right. And so there probably wasn't a police report filed. She may not have had family that was looking for her. She also might not have had dental records, depending on what she was able to afford. In 1953, a woman named Una Mossop made a statement to police saying that her ex-husband Jack had allegedly confessed to the murder, but he had made this confession to family members. So her story is that, I guess, in the early 40s, Jack and a Dutch friend of his named Van Ralt had gone for a drink in Hagley, and they had met a woman, presumably Bella, and the woman got drunk while she was with them, and they gave her a ride, and on the ride, she passed out in their car. The men thought that it would be a hilarious joke to put her unconscious body in a hollow tree in Hagley Woods so that when she woke up in the morning, she would, quote, see the error in her ways. A lot of things wrong with that.
That doesn't explain how her hand was then cut off and buried.
Yeah. And so I guess the thought with this theory is that she was unable to get out of the tree and died inside. Jack was later admitted to a psychiatric hospital, probably for several reasons. One of the reasons was apparently because he was having recurring dreams about a woman staring out at him from a tree. And he died before the body was ever discovered. But a lot of people have pointed out that Una waited 10 years after his death to come forward with this story. I don't know if they ever verified it with any family members that he allegedly confessed to. Like you said, it doesn't explain the hand being cut off. It doesn't explain the piece of taffeta, like, being shoved down her throat. Unless they did those things beforehand and left that part out of the story.
Maybe.
And he was just, like, trying to make up a less...
Seems like cutting off her hand and then burying it. Like, that's a significant thing.
Yeah.
That has meaning.
Yeah. And we'll talk about what the meaning might be. Yeah. Oh, and my next point, actually. I'll take a drink for that. In 1945, anthropologist and archaeologist Margaret Murray suggested that this was part of some kind of witchcraft ritual because of the hand being removed. And the body being enclosed in a tree was, in theory, so that the spirit could not escape. Because, spirits in trees can't, you know how trees are keeping spirits, everywhere. Are you familiar with the Hand of Glory?
Dirty thoughts processing.
I know.
Getting mind out of gutter. No.
Okay. It does, I think, appear in an episode of Supernatural.
Okay, because the only... the only references my brain is cataloging for Hand of Glory are from Supernatural-esque television shows.
Funny enough, I can only think of, which this is not at all related, there's a movie, and it's got to be, I guess, early 2000s, because it stars, like, Devon Sawa in his prime.
Who?
Devon Sawa? Ugh, Devon Sawa. Yeah, look him up. And I think it's called Idle Hands, and in the movie, his hand is, like, possessed by the devil or something, and he has to cut it off, but then it's, like, still animated. Yeah, Devon Sawa. He was in Casper. He was like Casper.
Okay, I was about to say, when I saw the picture of him, I'm like, that looks like Casper.
Yeah, he's Casper as a human. He was in Wild America, which was like one of my favorite movies.
It is Idle Hands.
Yes. It has nothing to do with the Hand of Glory, but...
And Little Giants. And Now and Then. I loved that one. SLC Punk. Okay. I do know this person.
Okay, good. He's a little dreamboat.
Yeah, no, every girl had a crush on Casper.
Yes.
For sure.
He had that perfect 90s haircut. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the Hand of Glory. In European folklore, which I couldn't tell if this came from a specific religion or a specific era or a specific culture, it just was like, according to lore, if you take the left hand of someone who was hanged and remove it from their body, it holds a lot of power, and you can then use the power. And it's either the left hand or the hand that they used to commit whatever crime they were being hanged for.
It would definitely be my left hand then.
Obviously. So there is actually a Hand of Glory that is at the Whitby Museum in North Yorkshire in England. And according to the 1823 text that appears alongside this Hand of Glory, this is how you are to make one. Quote.
Hold on, we need to have a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's like a waiver, but it's an alert. It's
Like a PSA?
No, a similar.
Like a disclaimer?
Disclaimer. That one would probably work.
What, like, don't try this at home?
I mean, yes. Please don't try this at home. But basically, it's a disclaimer that absolves us of the responsibility of, like, when telling people how to do a thing.
Yes.
Kind of a thing. Like, we assume no responsibility for anyone who decides that they want to try this.
Yes. Don't
try this.
Don't try this.
But also, for anyone who does, we are not responsible.
Yeah. 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 We're not at all saying that this works. And don't do it. And also, it's a lot of work. So, like, once I read it, you're not going to want to do it. It takes a long time. And, like, for the benefits of it, it's just not. Okay. We'll get to it. Okay. It must be cut from the body of a criminal on the gibbet, pickled in salt, and the urine of a man, woman, dog, horse, and mare, smoked with herbs and hay for a month, hung on an oak tree for 3 nights running, then laid at a crossroads, then hung on a church door for 1 night, while the maker keeps watch on the porch. And if it be that no fear hath driven you forth from the porch, then the hand be true one, and it be yours. That's only, like, part of making it. So, like, first you have to find a hanged person, cut their hand off, and then you have to, like, pickle it. You have to get the urine from all of...
That's a lot of urine collection going on.
A lot of urine collection. I have no idea how you would collect the urine of a dog, by the way.
And put a bowl under it. I've had to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would never know how to do that.
Well, there's a couple different ways. The most common one is called free catch. And basically you take the dog out to do his business. And when they squat or lift the leg, you just get that bowl under there.
Seems like a 2-person job.
No.
Yeah. I'll call you.
There's another way of doing it with a syringe. But that's less friendly because it can lead to potential infection.
I'm going to call you if I ever have to do this.
Yeah.
The hand thing, not the...
Free catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Hopefully Kelly never has a UTI, which would be the main reason why you would ever need to get her urine.
Okay, so you do all of that with this hand, but you're not done. That does not a hand of glory make.
You smoke it for, 3 months, you said?
Let's
3
see.
weeks, 3 nights? I don't know.
Smoke it for a month.
A month, that was
and then you hang it on an oak tree for 3 nights.
Yeah, okay.
And then you lay it at a crossroads and hope that a crossroads demon doesn't...
smoking it for a month after being pickled will definitely dry. Like, you're talking some serious preservation there. Yeah. This hand's gonna be with you for a long time. Okay,
so now you have the hand. Okay, you also have to make a candle, or 5 candles, out of the fat, either from the same human or from another human that was hanged. So you also have to know how to render human fat into candles.
So, you need full access to this hanged person.
Yes.
You can't just do kind of like a running, ha-cha, and, whack off the hand and run off with it.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but then,
people get, real touchy about human remains.
A month and 3 days later, you're going to be in trouble when you realize you got to make those candles.
Yeah.
So you got to make the candles. You have to use their hair as the wick.
Man, that's going to be an awful smelling candle.
I know. And, I was like, what an awful source for the wick. Just not good. Okay. So you have your candles. You have your weirdly pickled and dried hand.
Desiccated hand.
Okay. Now you have to use the hand as a candle holder. So I assume that you do one of these.
I just thought of my new favorite Halloween decoration. I'm totally going to make some.
Yeah. So you can do it like that. I think I saw in some illustrations where you, like, I guess, mold the wax to the tips of the fingers. I also saw where it's just one candle that's like that's sticking out in between the fingers. So
I'm just imagining like the hand kind of like laying palm up and kind of like the fingers curling up around and having like one big pillar candle in there in the palm.
We should do a craft night. This would be fun. Okay, so now you have this. You've gone to a lot of trouble to make this candle. Do you want to know all the cool power that you're gonna have?
Probably not as much as worth the work. Damn.
Okay, so
it's one hell of a DIY project.
I know. So when you light the candle, it's gonna only give light to you, and it's going to render.
So it's kind of like an invisibility cloak in a way of like, okay, you need to sneak in there in the dark, but you don't want to alert anyone that you're there.
Yeah, but
so you can light the candle and like, oh, I can see, but no one else can see it.
Yeah, but it's only going to give you the light of a candle. It's not, like, that much light.
I mean,
it's better than nothing.
That's
but...
right. Like, if I'm trying to, like, sneak around in the dark, you know, and don't want to alert anyone that I'm there, don't want anyone else to see me. Continue.
Okay.
Continue.
In addition, anyone that is presented with the candle is rendered motionless. So this is not to be something that, like, robbers or thieves would use, because they could go into your house.
You wouldn't
be
know
like,
they were there.
You can't move. I'm gonna steal your stuff. And then the only way to put out the candle is with milk, which is kind of gross. That's a month and a week's worth of work for that. So this is what Margaret thinks has happened, right? That they cut off Bella's hand to make this hand of glory, and then they put her in the tree so that her spirit couldn't get out.
No. I disagree.
So, some problems with this.
The hand was found buried.
So...
and not pickled and smoked.
Although Margaret was well respected in her field, she was known for, quote, seeing witches everywhere.
That's what I was going to guess.
Yeah, so this was not her first time saying...
It's a witch!
Perhaps it was a witch.
She's a witch! She's got a pointy hat and a big nose. No, don't they dress me like this? We did a bit.
Did you dress her up like this? No.
Well, a bit. We did a bit.
This isn't my nose. It's a false one. We did do the nose. And the hat.
But she's still a witch.
Okay, so there wasn't any evidence that Bella had been hanged, right? So there was evidence she had been suffocated.
Next question.
Burying the hand didn't make any sense. I saw nothing about the hand having been pickled and dried. I don't know that there were candles. My best guess for this theory is like, if someone did it and then they were like, oh, this doesn't work, I guess we'll throw the hand back. I'm like, okay, so yeah, like maybe
they were like, let's start dismembering her into small pieces, and they're like, oh man, that was tough just getting the hand. The rest of her is going to be difficult too. Let's just throw her up in the tree
put her
there.
In that tree, yeah.
But then why would they bury the hand instead of just throwing the hand up there with her?
Yeah.
I still think there's some sort of symbolism to it.
Yeah, so I
wouldn't necessarily go with witches, but...
So this is the picture that they put out. Obviously, she wasn't found, like, fully clothed, but I guess she was found with enough clothing fragments that they were able to, like, identify what pieces of clothing she was wearing, right? So skirt, a shirt, like a normal outfit for like someone in the 40s,
yeah,
right? So keep that in mind as we continue with the next couple theories.
So with the symbolism, I keep thinking about this episode of Bones where a person was found and their hands and feet were cut off and buried separately from the body. And it was because it was symbolic, because that's what they would do with, like, prize racehorses kind of a thing.
Oh.
is cutting off their feet and burying them separately. And I don't remember all the details, but basically this person was treated as a horse, but as a horse with great respect.
Right.
And so that's what I'm thinking of, like separating a body part and burying it separately means something.
Yeah.
I don't think witches, but sure.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially
witches.
if they just left it, like, you know, if they're trying to make this thing, they're supposed to keep it and use it, right?
Yeah, it's I don't know. So there were some other theories. One was a woman named Clarabelle Dronkers, who was 30, who was the wife of a Dutch spy. She was known to have irregular teeth, and I guess she disappeared in the 40s. And then another one was a woman named Clara Barrel, who was 35, and she was a cabaret actress and also a German spy. And
Everyone was a spy.
I didn't think anything about this one until I read this other part of the story, which is in 1941, a German spy named Joseph Jacobs was parachuting into Cambridgeshire. I'm telling you, England, get your names together. So he parachuted in, and he was like pretty much immediately captured by English. It was like a volunteer group. And upon his capture, they found a photograph of Clara in his pocket. And he eventually told them that she was his lover, and also she was also a spy. Which, way to give up information really easily, Joseph. Good grief. And he said because her English was so good, she had been recruited by the Nazis, and she was also supposed to parachute into the Midlands, which is an area of England that includes Worcestershire. I hope I am saying that right. I feel really silly saying it.
I've always said Worcestershire.
I know, but to me, that's like the sauce. Like the stuff you put.
That's true.
I don't know. So she was supposed to parachute into the Midlands once Jacobs had like safely landed and made radio contact. So Jacobs claimed, no, I never made radio contact with her because I got arrested like as soon as I landed. Some people believe that he either lied and had been able to contact her, or that she made the jump anyways, landed somewhere in Worcestershire, and got into some kind of trouble. And that the name Clara Barrel sounded like Clarabella. And that's where we ended up with Bella. My problem with that... What are you looking up?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. But is that... Oh, okay. Worcestershire. That's close.
Yeah. Worcestershire.
My problem with that theory, though, is that picture I showed you was a woman dressed in like a cardigan and a skirt and some nice shoes, which I would argue hopefully they would not make someone wear if you're parachuting.
Yeah, no, that's not a paratrooper's outfit.
It's not a parachuting outfit even for a lady.
No. Even in the 40s, they would have let her wear pants to jump out of a
Hopefully,
plane.
they'd let you wear the pants. My other problem with this is that we don't know if the name Bella actually had any significance to the body, or if it was just a name that was given to her by like a random graffiti artist.
Or if it was just somebody fucking with the police.
Yeah, and like Bella is kind of like a generic. I mean, it's like Jane Doe, kind of. You know, it's like I don't know. Also, the whole one of the things, I guess, well, I don't actually know if this was true about Clara, but one of the things that they said about Clarabella Dronkers, you know, is that she had irregular teeth. And I was like, okay, I don't think having irregular teeth in the 40s is a distinguishing feature that we should be looking at. Like, if you're just a woman in your 30s that had kind of weird teeth, and it's the 1940s, and you're in Europe.
Pre-orthodontia.
That's not... Yeah, I'm sorry. If it wasn't for the thousands of dollars that my parents spent in the early 2000s, I would...
I'd have a jacked up mouth.
I would also have very jacked up teeth.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Mom. And thank you, Jarek's parents, for giving him braces. So the good news is, right, it's 2022 and we have DNA, right? So DNA testing might be able to help us uncover Bella's real identity if we knew where her body was. So...
Well, okay. That was a turn I wasn't expecting.
So after Dr. Webster finished his examination on her in 1943... he sent the bones to the University of Birmingham for some, quote, unofficial tests, and there are no records of the bones after that point. So we have no idea where she is, and we have no idea who she is, and we may never know who she is or what happened to her. And that is the story of Bella in the Witch Tree. Sorry. I'm sorry.
That's so abrupt.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't have a good ending for you.
I thought we were like halfway through.
No, I'm sorry. We're done. Yeah, that's all we have. No one knows who she is. We have no idea.
Or where she is.
No one knows what happened to her bones. I know. I got to the part and they were like, oh yeah, DNA. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, good. DNA. And then they're like, also we lost her bones. I was like,
oh my god, I know where her spirit is.
Hopefully haunting fucking Dr. Webster. Losing the bone. Oh god, don't stop. Stop it. Isabella, get out of here. Oh my gosh. All right, Bella. All right, well,
maybe we should go hang her in the tree.
Oh, no. I'm treating her with respect.
You're not gonna put her in the witch tree.
No. Anyways, sorry for the disappointing ending. There were no
It's just abrupt.
I know. But there were no dead babies.
Huzzah!
Yeah, everyone send me what you want to hear. Specifically in the next week. I've got a week and a half, and then I'm going to be busy again.
You've got till September.
I've got till September 1st. What else was I going to say?
Nothing, because we already did our socials.
I know. I have something else. But, yeah, I hope everyone's having a great week. It's almost spooky season. Today was hot, so I'm, like, ready for it to...
Yesterday started out great.
I know. And, like, today was, like, rainy, and I was like, oh, this is nice. And we were in that old house, and there's, like, this, like, reading room. I was like, this is great. And then as soon as it stopped raining, the temperature just, like, soared.
Yep.
And we're standing there talking, and I was like, oh, my God. This is, like, every pore of my body is sweating. So, all right, well, we'll see everyone next week. Bye.